are the new Peacekeeper magnetic trays that are on Kickstarter right now that I've been trying out for the last few weeks. And these are 10 of my favorite games of all time. Now, over my last month or so using the Peacekeeper trays, I fell in love with them. But I want to go through some of my favorite games, talk about why I love these games, and see if these trays would be something that I might put into these games to make them easier to get out, easier to play, and easier to store my games, and hopefully make them hit the table a little bit more often. Let's go through them. Let's talk about it.
What does that even mean, Bauer's Game Corner?
Boy there, YouTube, I'm back again today for another review, another Kickstarter review. Actually, I guess this one would technically be a preview because these are prototypes, but either way, I'm checking out the Peacekeeper's magnetic organizing trays, which are currently on Kickstarter right now. I'll post that Kickstarter link down below. And before we get into it, I do want to mention that I have skin in the game, so to speak, on this video. You know, it's not a paid review, but the company that's hopefully going to be manufacturing these, I work for. So that I wanted to mention that from the jump. That being said, part of the reason why I'm covering these is also because I answer all the emails when people reach out about their games, and I saw videos of these and I thought, oh my gosh, these are amazing. I freaking love these. So let's talk about Peacekeepers. Now, I've been using them for the last few weeks, and I thought the easiest way to kind of showcase these would be to grab 10 of my favorite games of all time and then see if I would actually use Peacekeepers on these games. Because the bottom line is, after using these, I really love them. I really do, and I think they're very useful. I think they make it way easier to organize things on the table, and I love having them in my games. So first, we're going to talk about Corporate America. Why do I love this game? First and foremost, it is, in my personal opinion, the best 6-player game of all time. It plays 5 and 6 spectacularly, and it's all about running a mega business, and you're going to be creating all these different businesses in front of you, which will give you different synergies and different special abilities, and then you're going to take those different synergies and special abilities you have, and then you're going to go to a different phase where you're going to be negotiating and wheeling and dealing and all sorts of, it's a super fun phase, this consumer phase, and then you get to this amazingly different but also incredibly awesome phase where people at the table, if they want to, can run for president and try and get money, aka victory points, from other people and say, hey, here's why you're going to vote for me, because if you vote for me, I'll pass these laws and do this, that, the other thing, and these laws are the cards on the table. And it's just a criminally underrated game that you need to put on your radar. This is the Gilded Edition. This is the second print run. Hopefully it comes out with a future expansion. Now, that's why I love the game, and I would recommend it. Even though at 3 players, I think yeah, I wouldn't do it at 3. 4, 5, 6 is the way to go with this one on me personally. But looking in the game, card-wise, I don't think I'd organize cards. Like, I could be like, yeah, if they hit the stretch goal, we can have the double cards, and I'm going to put these in there. It's like, no, I wouldn't do that. However, for these mini cards, as these money, I think this is probably what I will do if I end up putting them in here, is separating these increments out into their different ones. Because this is one of those things you always have to do at the beginning of the game. You got to sort them out. You got to be like, get them all here. Because normally they're flipped over like this because it's secret information. Now, these dudes fit in here. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, so you can slide all those in there, and you can even have it like its own sort of like a little blackjack thing where they just slide out of there like that. So yeah, I think I definitely would do that for this one, potentially, just to keep the different increments of money done. And I probably would only use maybe 2 or 3 of these. I wouldn't make it so like every single increment had its own one. That seems a bit extreme. I would just, stack them up. Yeah, a whole bunch of them here. So you might have like 3 of these, maybe 2. I think you can do 2. And I would just separate them into the top monetarily half of cards and then the bottom half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever would be on the bottom. This would be 50s, 100s. So yeah, I can see myself using this one. I don't necessarily think it's something that I need or that I would necessarily do. And honestly, I probably would put it in something with more fiddly bits and whatnot. But is Corporate America peacekeepable? Is that a word? Peacekeeperable? I'd say yes. I'd give this one a pass because I definitely think for sorting the money, that'd be good. Not my game of choice, though, for it, and not what I'm going to use. Next, I'm going to introduce another one of my favorite games of all time, which is Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar from old school CGE. Yeah, 2013. 11 years. Jiminy Christmas. That's so long ago. And this box is all, not just for Tzolk'in, but it also has the Tribes and Prophecies expansion, which is really, really great. So this one I have no doubt in my mind. This would probably be one of the first ones I would probably go to with my Peacekeepers, because it's just, it would make it so much nicer to sort them out into their own little bits and have the resources be out there on the table. And then when you're done, you just put them back away, close them up, put them in the box, and bada boom. It's going to make it so you don't have this jumbled old mess. The other big thing is with the expansion in there, and I want to talk about Tzolk'in. So I'm talking Peacekeepers, but also talking Tzolk'in. So in case you don't know about Tzolk'in, Tzolk'in is a really stinking cool worker placement game. But the big core mechanism is what's called a rondel. Now, what is a rondel, you may ask, but you've been too scared to ask. It's these little gears right here that all lock together, and then as one moves, they all move, and you actually place your meeples, your workers, on these, and they spin around and collect different resources. And one of the really cool, so that's really cool, and how it's handled is really awesome, but it also really makes it so you're interested in what's happening on other people's turns, because your workers are just out there, they're floating. It's like, oh, don't move me two space, you move me two space, it'd be totally hosed, you know? So I want to look, though, at specifically at the expansion here, because, yeah, I'm wondering if this would be an extra one so the 13 tribe tiles, so those would probably be too big. I don't think I'd store those in anything. But however, the 13 prophecy tiles, yeah, something like that. That's what I'm thinking here. Yeah, that could work. Like storing specifically just like this is the expansion one. So it's like this is, oh yeah, we're not using that one. Just leave that one in there. And maybe even marking on the top of it too, like expansion or something like that. So yeah, I could definitely, so this one 100% easy Peacekeeper, and it's, man, I could just talk Tzolk'in all day. It's such a cool game. The theme comes across, I think, pretty well. The artwork is beautiful. The rondel works well, and really dig this one. Go appease the gods with Tzolk'in. Can't recommend this one enough. It's an oldie but a goodie, and this is what I talk about when I do my Kickstarter critique segment. It just blows my mind when I think about newer people in the hobby, and it's like, all right, I'm thinking about buying this $300 Kickstarter, and I just say to myself, man, if you just went on Amazon, you could buy like 8 bangers, just absolute bangers of games, potentially with expansions too. You know, so far I'd say we're 2 for 2, and in all fairness, I'd say we're really 1 plus for 2, because the one I like, if you bought like an absurd amount of them, which would be cool, by the way. I'd love to put them all together. Now this one I'm very curious about, because a lot of these, once again, I don't know if Peacekeeper is going to work in these games. This is Terraforming Mars, but it's not just my copy of Terraforming Mars. This one already has a specially printed insert that I got. It's got these little plastic things here too. It's already got its own little system with these foam cores, which are nice. They can pull out, they can go back in, but they don't have the lid, which I think is a big one for me. Because yeah, as you can see, the organization is lacking there, despite the fact that there is the capability to do it. Now for tiles, would I do it if you had the thick one? Yeah, that's one of the stretch goals, is to get the big thick one, which hopefully we hit, because that one would then make it so you could have like a huge stack of cards. Because we haven't really talked about it much, but there's also this one too, which can hold cards if you do it this way. However, for this big one, honestly, what I've done with it, or what I really think that I would do with it, because I've done it a couple times when we've been playing games throughout like the couple weeks that I've had this, is I've just like, whenever I have a first player stuff, what's all the stuff I have for the first player in this, or for me in this game at the beginning of the game, and it's like, would that be something where it would work for that game? And that's where I think these things will really shine. It's like, oh yeah, here you go. This is the blue one. This is all the blue starter stuff. So tiles, maybe if we had, yeah. Will the tiles do it? No, the tiles it'd be too big unless you put them like this. I don't think you'd want to do that unless you want to sort out some very specific. Actually, you know what? I take backsies. I could see myself doing this potentially for those special weird tiles with the symbols on it like this that you're always like, where the heck are you? You can't find them. So that might potentially work for these. But honestly, really for all these, I think that would be perfect, except instead of looking like that, I would organize it. So I would say Terraforming Mars would be a huge yes on this. And honestly, one thing that you might not have noticed when I opened this box is it does that thing where it's not closed all the way, and it just permanently does that. And that's because I have, obviously the modifications, here. But I think the Peacekeepers would allow me to get it back into the regular size box. And I just never got rid of the foam core because it was so nice. And I got this from a friend, and I was like, I don't want to mess with the foam core. But I have the Peacekeepers. Honestly, I think this will be game A, because it's going to give me like an extra half inch, potentially of not having the wiggle there on my shelf. And maybe I can find a half-inch game to slide in there. Maybe. I have an addiction. Terraforming Mars, though, totally. Big ups. Oh, why do I love the game? Yeah, that's the other thing. We're talking about games. Totally forgot about that. I just assume everyone's familiar with Terraforming Mars, which is stupid, because there's new people coming to the hobby all the time. So Terraforming Mars is an amazing game where you play as people trying to terraform Mars. Different organizations trying to terraform Mars, and you're going to do that, really, and this is why I absolutely enjoy this game, with this huge stack of cards here that are all unique and all different and all have different symbology and different pieces of information. And every single time you play, you're going to get different combinations of these cards, and you're going to make your own unique way that you are going to terraform Mars. So every time you play, you might have a different strategy based on the different cards you get, and there's different boards, and there's expansions up the wazoo, and there's a card game, and there's a reason why this is a much beloved game. That's because it's fantastic, but it is on the deeper end of the pool, and I would definitely recommend making sure the first time you learn, the person who knows how to play, the person who's teaching you really knows how to play. Because this one, I've heard so many people have experience where it's like, yeah, it didn't go well, where it dragged out forever. And I've actually been in one of those games where I was at a board game cafe in Denver, and someone, the bistro was like, yeah, you want me to teach that game? And we're like, that's amazing, yeah, absolutely. Like, we were reading the rules. We're like, whatever, we'll just learn it. And she was like, no, we'll teach it. And she taught us horribly, terribly incorrect. And for those of you who are Terraforming Mars fans and wondering what possibly did she teach you incorrectly, your mind's gonna be freaking blown. Because she told us that selling cards cost you $1, but the amount of money that you got was how much the card was worth. So essentially, we were selling $30 cards. You spend $1 and get $30, which totally broke the game, obviously. Oh yeah, he's going there. Are we opening this bad boy? This huge thing? Twilight Imperium. Let's go. Probably 2, 3, 4 of my favorite games of all time. And yes, I'd probably rather play 4th edition. Maybe. I'm a stubborn old geek. So right now, ooh, look at that bust part. I've given the bag system. Now, if I could fit everything into there, that would be ideal. It doesn't look like that would be possible, even with the thick one. And yeah, you're like, yeah, you could if you organize everything perfectly. I'm not doing that. You're not doing that. That's a terrible idea. Nobody wants to do that. Tile-wise, I think the tiles are too big. That's not going to fit. This is really where, yeah. This is really where you're going to get the bang for the buck out of the Peacekeepers. And why? Yeah, and those would totally fit in there if I unscrunched it. Just all the different, like those cards. Those are the same size as the cards from Corporate America. Maybe a little bit smaller, actually. Yeah, those are a little bit smaller. So with all those tokens, this is why. This would make this so much more Peacekeeperable. And once again, I just want you to see this, and then just imagine if I Peacekeepered, it was just nice. It was like, oh, here we go. Just boom, boom, and I take the lid off and be like, oh, I see this one. Oh, I see that one. And it's like, it's just... yeah, I see the appeal. I see the definite appeal. Twilight Imperium 100% is Peacekeeperable. Now, these cards, though, I don't think so. I think that's going to be too much unless we get the taller ones. If we get the taller ones, then this could be on the menu. That's actually not terrible. That's not terrible. Yeah, very interesting. All right, yeah, so Twilight Imperium. How many would you need, though? That's the question. Holy guacamole. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. Man, I love this game. Oh, I just want to play it right now. Oh, yeah. Well, good. At least I get to talk about it and all of its beautiful expansions and glory and printed out things. So Twilight Imperium is an epic space adventure where you are going to, first, create outer space. And you do this by placing out all the different tiles, which the first time you do it, you're like, okay, you won't know that much. But as you learn more about the game, it becomes a huge aspect of the game because you're essentially crafting the entire universe. And then you're going to play as your own unique race. And all the races are super cool and super asymmetric and super, oh my gosh, so many. Look at the flavor text. Look at that's just flavor flavor text dipping you, immersing you into there. This is what a player reference should look like right here. It makes it so easy and useful, and every time you want to play as a different race and do a different thing, and you're like, they rub up against each other so differently, and you play for multiple hours, and then there's negotiation, and there's stand-up dice rolls, and there's exciting, and there's bribery, and there's voting, and there's all sorts of very cool stuff, and it really just does so many board game things so stinking well, and it's always a delight when it gets to hit the table. Twilight Imperium, one of my favorite games of all time, and undoubtedly a fantastic peacekeeperable game, up there with Terraforming Mars. And honestly, right now, corporate America, while still, yeah, I'd say is a check. I think that's the only one, but these ones really show me even more how much more I could get out of Peacekeepers. Like, oh, this one's heavy. Oh my gosh, I almost busted that one. Yeah, listen to this. Yes, that's my copy of Mage Wars, the customizable strategy game of dueling mages that I learned the first time at a board game convention in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I played in the tournament, and I won the whole stinking tournament, and I was obsessed with the game, and I absolutely enjoyed the game, and it had a god-awful rule book with so many pages, but it's so incredibly awesome, and in this game, you have two separate games. The first game, the one that they talk about, is this one, where you have this huge board, and you go around this board, moving your wizards around this board, and placing out traps, and placing out pets, and doing things, and having a wizarding duel on this massive board. But you do that with all these cards. Yes, these cards right here, because all these cards are going to be the cards that you'll be putting into your deck. We'll do a whole variety of different things, and your deck, it's not a deck. A deck is underselling Mage Wars because it's not a deck. You make a book. You get your own customized book. I haven't do this one, but yeah, you get your own customized book. You fill it in, and you make your own character. Oh, look at this character. Oh, this one. Oh, that looks so good. She's going to be planting so many things all over, and you gain your mana, and you keep track of everything with these. Oh, God, they're everywhere. Peacekeeperable, I'd say, heck freaking yes. I mean, that's obvious here. Like, this would be... Like, it would be the kind of thing where I'd want to do it as I played the game because of just how much stuff I want to organize and in different ways. And if I actually took the time to do it, yeah, this would probably be something that would be more appealing to hit the table. So yeah, I'd say this one is a no-brainer. And really any game with lots and lots of fiddly bits and not like amazing organization, I think is going to be the kind of thing where Peacekeeper would go for it. But that's kind of why I had trouble making this video. I was like, how do you review something like this? There's only so much you can say about it. So I thought instead I'd talk about some of my favorite games interweaved with me, telling about Peacekeepers. But yeah, Mage Wars is amazing, and making your own deck is spectacular because it's so many cards. Like, you have so many cards, and when you're crafting a deck, you're just trying to think of every possible bad thing that could happen, and just having that one ace in the hole card. God, it's so heavy. That's just there for you when you need it. Yeah, Mage Wars. Man, I want to play all these games right now. Okay, so heavy. Moving on next, we got Robo Rally. I grabbed this one on a whim. I just love Robo Rally. They re-released this one from Richard Garfield, Spider-Man. Apologies. I don't know who I'm apologizing to, one of the two. They're both fantastic. But Richard Garfield, he did Magic the Gathering, and he did King of Tokyo, and he did Robo Rally a really long time ago, like 15, 20-ish years ago, and it's a programming game. It's a fantastic. And recently, the last few years, Renegade Games has really, really been pumping a lot more content out for it. I think there's like 3, 4, 5 expansions. They have it was a Transformers crossover expansion at Gen Con that looks super duper cool. And at the end of the day, would I Peacekeeper it looking at it? Probably not. I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, what would I do? The organization in itself is pretty nice on this one. I mean, you could say maybe these, but that feels very baggy. So I'd say we're going to give the thumbs down to Robo Rally. But what is Robo Rally? Robo Rally is a spectacular programming game where you are going to be programming one of these cool little robots to try and go to various different checkpoints around the map, and then pretty much just go through various different checkpoints at the map and then be the first person to get to a certain place. But where it gets interesting is all these different things are going to be moving you in different directions, and you have to try and plan it out before you play, but there's things that will mess up your plans, and it's kind of like Galaxy Trucker-esque, where you can have the big plans, but you just kind of watch as everything falls apart around you, and it's fun because it happens to everybody, so it's just like, who can mitigate the most wildness. Robo Rally is fantastic, but not fantastic for Peacekeepers. Maybe after the Empire from Gray Fox Games and Everett Halford, my good friend, and Ryan Moore. Is it? Oh, this one's looking no. This one's looking no. Why? Already top-notch organization here. And I'm thinking in my head, is there anything I'd change about this? No, I got tons of slots. Let's keep going deeper. Yeah, I got play mats. What? What's going on? Hey, with these, that's a bag. That's another bag. Yeah, that's it. This is actually one that I thought about, but I played it early in the month. Yeah, this is an easy one. So these are the starting bags. So I could definitely see myself just sliding those there instead. I think that'd be nice. Yeah. I could see myself doing that one. I think that one would be definitely very feasible, especially if you're gonna hit the game's gonna hit the table a lot. That being said, you could use a bag as well with this one, but you can say that about a lot of different things. But with this one, yeah, because I'm trying to think to myself, would the Peacekeeper be functional on the table while playing after the Empire, which I'm going to talk about after the Empire in a minute? I'd say no. I would say no, because most of these components are going to stay on the board. So it's not like one of those times where it's like, oh yeah, I'll keep it out there, it'll be helpful because it's where I put things into it. So no, I'd say after the Empire, probably not. Probably not. Maybe for the first player ones, but we're not going to go there. I think that's a stretch, and I think that's a stretch too far. And that's from the guy who stretched far enough to say I just use it to hold money, but I do really hate unsorting money. It drives me mad. So, after the Empire, let's talk about this one, because you're like, what? What the heck is this game? What are all these huge plastic pieces here? This is a super cool game where you have a castle, and then you're going to literally have the castle there, and it's going to have wooden bits in it, and then you're going to build a kingdom. And you have this massive, it's a worker placement game. So you have workers, you're going to go out, you're going to recruit people to come to your thing, which will give you new special abilities and persistent stuff and new stuff that you can do. And then also you can have different locations in your city, which will like up your defense. So they'll do all sorts of various different things. But essentially there's a worker placement phase of the game, which is fun, and I love it every time I've done it. I think we're at 3 or 4 games now. I really enjoy it because you can just kind of craft your own different castle, whichever way you want to do it each time. But then you get to this battle phase, which is like super intense, where you get all these workers, and it can be a bit fiddly sometimes, not the workers, but these actual like little soldiers, these plastic soldier dudes, and like they fight, and there's like a cool combat system where you see them, pounding on your wall and then breaking down your wall and pushing into that. And thanks to a pretty well done player aid card, which is somewhere in here, it goes pretty smoothly. Player reference, I wish it was a little bit bigger, but I say that about every single player reference. Honestly, they could all be bigger. Make them bigger. All bigger. Any race for the Galaxy ones all the time. Just give me them that big. And it's super fun. I really enjoy this game after the Empire. One that I probably wouldn't use it for. Yeah. So I'm going to give that one a thumbs down on it. It's a fantastic game. Highly recommend it. Can't wait to check out the expansion coming soon. I think maybe later this year. I don't know. Maybe early next year. But that is After the Empire. Gray Fox Games. Great game, but not really peacekeeperable material. We have 2 more games left. 2 of my favorite games of all time, including my favorite game of all time is the last one. But it's kind of a cheat, because right now I got 2 things. I got Orleans and I got Orleans Invasion. Oh, the blue box. This is the best expansion of all time. I don't know if you bet, but hey, here you go. Now you know. Orleans Invasion, in my personal opinion, the best expansion of all time. I will hear some arguments for a couple other things, especially Pandemic in the Lab. That was a very good one, too. So, anywho, Orleans. This one is a bag building game where you are going to be, building up your city and... Not building up your city. Oh, here we go. Oh my gosh, you're going to be going all around this map here. You're going to be collecting resources. You're not going to be building up your city. What you're going to be doing is you're building up your bag. You're going to be building up your bag by moving these things over here and getting more tokens that you're going to put in your bag, which will help you with fighting or help you with church-related things. The theme is there. It comes across relatively well. One of my favorite things about this game is that it actually is really easy to teach, surprisingly, despite the amount of things going on in the game, because they all make sense when you teach them. Little thing like that. There's cool events that will happen that everybody has to deal with. There's just so much to talk about Orleans. It's a really spectacular game. And the expansion turns it into a cooperative nightmare, which is super fun and quite possibly one of my favorite cooperative games of all time. And it's not just that there's a cooperative game. There's like 4 or 5 different game modes in here. And there you go. That is where the Peacekeeper might come into play. Now, I don't know. I don't have dreams of grandeur. What's that quote from the song? I don't know. It's a quote from the song. But I do think that this definitely could look better than this, especially with Orleans Invasion. Yeah, here we go. Having modules like fiddly modules. It's like, oh, I might not use this. This one actually probably would be grade A material for this sort of thing. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, because you don't necessarily need it for the starting things because we just put them in the bags. But for the expansion, yes. So Orleans, is it Peacekeeper? You got little things, yeah, here and there. I'd say yes. Ish, but yes for sure when we go Orleans Invasion, because being able to sort out those modules and some of the different pieces instead of this abomination. Yeah, we got there. Okay, why Orleans is fantastic? I mean, it's just so good. It's so good. I'm not really doing it a great service, which is honestly a shame because I'm drawing a blank on the game right now. But essentially, you reach into the bag, you grab out all these workers. That might be nice. You know, that could be Peacekeeper right there. So, yeah, that's it. That's it right here. This is it. And this would honestly be where I might even consider using the separator there to separate these ones out. So, yeah, we're definitely going to go with a yes on Peacekeeper on Orleans. But you reach out and then you put them onto your board that you have in front of you. And there's so many dang boards. Here it is. Here's the board. Yeah, you got this board right here, and you put your workers down here, and then you can fill up the spots, and they'll get you. You're going to blow your mind. They're going to get you more people than you put in the bag. And then these ones, you're going to blow your mind too. These will allow you to move around. This will let you put down a little house that does some stuff. Yeah, it's like trying to explain the game to you is like, oh, cool, I get another disc. But it's so good. It's so good. Give it a shot. Trust me, give it a shot. Love it. Peacekeeper, absolutely. Orleans Invasion, best cooperative game of all time. Fight me in the streets. Actually, I guess you could fight me in the streets because the next game I'm about to talk about is my favorite game of all time, and people play cooperatively, but it's a team game, so I don't know if it doesn't count. That's Blood on the Clock Tower. And I really don't know if this one's Peacekeeper because I'll be honest with you, I have never played this copy of the game. I haven't. They were nice enough to send it to me because I did some work for them. I actually read their rules, and I made a bunch of videos on Blood on the Clock Tower because I really love the game, but I don't know how to run and moderate this game, so I don't even know really what's in here that well. I spent hours and hours and hours reading this rule booklet, though, so let's check it out. Peacekeeper, not so far. Yeah, look at these booklets. Oh my gosh. So if you don't know Blood on the Clock Tower, Blood on the Clock Tower is, I think the best way that I've ever described this game is to compare it to like a really snooty, lengthy Euro game. And when I say that, if you're familiar with the hobby, you're like, you get the gist. You're like, oh, one of those games. One of those snooty Euro games that's just like, oh my gosh, look how clever I am because of how many different mechanisms lock up and that sort of thing, right? That's kind of what Blood on the Clock Tower feels like, but for werewolf. And I love it. I'm all about it. And yeah, this one looks like definitely not going to be Peacekeeper because, yeah, look at this. I actually turned it up. So look how well organized that was if you don't turn it upside down. Yeah, so this one, okay. Those, maybe, I don't know. Because here's the thing. Peacekeepers could really shine in a box like this if they have space. So let's see. Do they have the space here? Looking at this logistically, that's a perfect fit. So if yeah, is this going to make it any easier? Let's check it out. Oh yeah, I think that could be. I think you could sort this out potentially. Yeah, here's my riots down here, and this could just be in your box as well. Ooh, real nice. That is super Peacekeeper right there. Oh, that's hot. I'm glad to hear that too, because this game is spectacular. Why is this game so spectacular? Because, listen to me real quick here. I have played so many board games since I started Bowers Game Corner that it really takes a lot at this point for me to be like, oh my god, to really, oh crap, now they're all getting mixed together. Oh, I had Peacekeepers. I've always been using them. Oh. But every once in a while, I'll play a game, and my brain just won't wrap around the game, right? Where it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't figure out how to win. I'm having fun. I'm getting my face just stomped in. And every once in a while, I'll find games like that that they're so complex for whatever reason. And in this one, it's because of all the different roles, which I'll show you in a second. Just this monstrosity right here. There's all these, different roles that you play that might potentially be in the game and have all these different effects and different texts, and they all are interweaved together. It's crazy. But yeah, this game does that to me. Every time I play this game, I just feel like I'm along for the ride. And the ride's fantastic because, quite frankly, I want to win or I want to lose, but at the end of the day, I just love talking to people. And you just talk to so many people in this game. There's just so much chit-chatting and people doing all sorts of silly stuff in there, too. And the fact that the person who actually would carry around this box, potentially with peacekeepers in it, because I do think they fit really well and could help organize some stuff, that was such a terrible for a plug. They also have a vested interest in trying to make the game somewhat even, potentially, if they need to, like putting their toe on the scale here and there, and making it more fun. Like, that's one of the things that they write in the rules, is just like, remember, if there's something you can do that you think, so the moderator has so much power in that game, and it's fantastic, and it's so good, and I love it. And if you like social deduction games, or even if you don't, should carve out a couple hours and give this one a whirl, just because I would say this is an experience game. It's just such an interesting game. And now I just want to show you how sad I am, because all my boxes are like slightly ajar, like this one, and I'm gonna have to go through and try and organize them, or I'm not. I'm just gonna put them on the shelf, and it's gonna be dangerous because things are gonna slide off of them. Let me know in the comments below which one you think I'm gonna do. But at the end of the day, these are peacekeepers. If they look like it might be your cup of tea, be sure to check them out on the Kickstarter link down below. If you're more interested in any of these games, I will post one link down below to one of these games. I'm going to give the rub to Corporate America because I love that game so much. But yeah, check out that link down there, and you can just type in the name of any of these games, and it'll pop it up. It's a board game website called BoardGameGeek.com. It is the best board game website on the planet. You'll be astonished at how much stuff is on that website. I've been on that website for over a decade, and I still keep finding new things. It's incredible. It's incredible. A bit clunky from time to time, but man, it's amazing. And if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below, as I'm trying to reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year, because that is what they tell me to do to get an attainable goal that the audience can get behind. And in particular, round numbers are good. So 30,000 is the one I went with. Because I think what I'm going to do is hopefully 40 for 40. That one makes sense. But just going for 30, it doesn't seem like there's a good reason for 30. I need to figure one out. But let me know in the comments below what you think about Peacekeepers, what you think about some of these games, what's your favorite game of all time, and would it be Peacekeeper? Let's just get some chit-chat in the comments down below if that's the kind of thing. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. Man, that lingered so long. This video is brought to you by all of my amazing Patreon supporters, and I would love it if you would join their ranks and have your name immortalized in the end of many of my videos for the end of time. But consider for only $1 a month, and as always, thanks for stopping by.